I need you to remember this. If you can imprint in his mind, you will imprint in his soul. He may sleep with someone else, or he might even distract himself, but no one else awakens in him the way you did. No one else touches the exact corners of his vulnerability, the part of him that only you could reach. See, when a woman imprints intellectually, she becomes the one he remembers in every conversation, in every challenge, in every new idea. So when a woman imprints, she becomes a part of his emotional DNA. Not something he can point to, not something he can consciously control, but embedded deep inside of him is your imprint. He may think that he has moved on, but there is an invisible thread connecting him back to her. And that is imprinting at its purest form. And that's why you find men orbiting back to a woman that they've left before. So as a woman, I need you to remember, intimacy is a tool of imprinting when used consciously. Every kiss, every moment, every touch, every shared breath can awaken him in ways that last long after that moment is over. The way he felt fully seen when you caressed him, when you touched him, when you kissed him, fully recognized, fully awakened. No one else can recreate that, because it wasn't about technique. It was about energy. It wasn't about the sex. It was about energy. It was about the authenticity. It was about the connection. So how do you become a woman who imprints? How do you leave a mark that endures? Your absence, when paired with authenticity, becomes more magnetic than your presence. You need to express care and passion authentically. But don't beg for reciprocation. If he's not reciprocating, move. I'm going to teach you how to imprint yourself on him, on your man. So much so that no one else can touch what you've awakened. You know, there is a difference between being with a man and leaving a mark on him. Some women pass through his life, and when they're gone, nothing lingers. But other women, they leave something that echoes. It's subtle, it's quiet, it's invisible to the eyes, but undeniable in the heart. And that, my love, is the power of imprinting. And you know, this topic naturally divides into different dimensions of imprinting, because imprinting isn't just one thing. It's multi-layered. And when a woman understands and applies all of the layers, she becomes unforgettable in every damn sense. And here is how to break it down. Imprinting isn't about trying. It isn't about performing. It's not about proving or even being perfect. It's about living fully in your own truth while you move through his life. Your energy, your fire, your calm, your laughter, your very core, they all combine to create something he cannot replicate, something that stays with him long after you've stepped away. Now imagine a woman who loved deeply but quietly. She didn't have to chase. She didn't have to beg for his attention. She just held her space fully. She lived her life wholly. She radiated her truth. She loved fiercely but gracefully. And in that energy, she became unforgettable. Years later, he may be with someone else, someone perfect on paper, but something is always missing. That calm, that depth, that fire she carried. He cannot recreate it. That is what imprinting is. Even in unrequited love, your energy lingers like an invisible signature in his soul. So when a woman imprints, she becomes a part of his emotional DNA. Not something he can point to, not something he can consciously control, but embedded deep inside of him is your imprint, is your mark. It just shapes how he thinks, how he feels, even how he behaves. Every laugh, every gentle correction, Every moment of care, these little tiny things live on in ways that he may never admit, ways he may never even recognize, but they are there, quietly guiding, quietly reminding him of the standard that you've set already. And let me tell you this, a man can try to replace you. He can meet other women, even someone more beautiful than you or more available than you. But the imprint that you've left is unique. It's irreplaceable, impossible to create, impossible to recreate. He may sleep with someone else, or he might even distract himself, but no one else awakens in him the way you did. No one else touches the exact corners of his vulnerability, the part of him that only you could reach. Here's the truth. When you awaken a man in a way that no one else can, you are shaping the very blueprint of his emotional self. You may not realize it at the time, but every moment he experiences that warmth, that understanding, that depth, you have already changed him. You've expanded him. You've made him capable of feeling, and you've given him insights that he may not have accessed before. That's imprinting, that's influence, and that's power. So imagine another woman in a similar scenario. She walks away from a man who didn't fully recognize her worth, right? She doesn't argue. She doesn't chase. She just does her thing. She knows her what. She doesn't beg. She just quietly leaves. And she focuses on her life. And yet, even in her absence, he feels her presence. Every little thing just reminds him of her. The calm in a way that she listens, the fire in a way that she held her ground, the laughter that made even ordinary days seem extraordinary. He may think that he has moved on, but there is an invisible thread connecting him back to her. And that is imprinting at its purest form. And that's why you find men orbiting back to a woman that they've left before. And you're thinking to yourself, Kilode, I thought he didn't want. I thought he was the one ghosting. So why is he back? Now, here is something women rarely realize. Imprinting isn't about control. Just know that. It's not about manipulation. It's not about even holding him captive. Imprinting is about authentic energy, lived fully, expressed truthfully, and radiated consistently. So when you live in alignment with yourself, when you love deeply without begging, when you show up fully, you leave marks on people's hearts that no one else can erase. Think about it. The calm, that confidence, that self-assured woman, the one who doesn't plead for attention, who doesn't chase for validation, doesn't compete for love, she becomes unforgettable because she's just authentically her. Whether you like her or you don't like her, she doesn't send. She's who she is. She comes correct. She's not going to overextend herself just to please you so that you can accept her. If you don't accept her, that's your bloody business, but she's going to love wholly. See, men may come and go. Women may enter his life, but the energy that you carried, the essence that you embodied, the presence that you held, those are the things that he cannot replicate. Those are the things that linger on. Those are the things that create that longing, even in the absence of romance or reciprocation. That's why you have to check the energy that you bring into a relationship. Make sure, even if he's acting a fool, make sure that you're coming correct, you're authentic. If you're loving fully, but you know your boundaries. You know that if your love is not reciprocated, you take it back. But you're going to show fully, you're going to show up fully, and you will show out when it's not reciprocated. No hard feelings. And the most magical part, that imprint grows over time. He may forget the words, the looks, the dates, but the energy, the imprint, that only deepens. It just quietly influences his decision, his interaction, his choices in women and relationship. And that's why you see some men, after they've broken up with their wives or broken up with their girlfriends, the new girlfriend is looking like the wife, or is looking like the ex-wife, or is looking like the ex-girlfriend, or acts like the ex-girlfriend. He was drawn to that new woman because he saw something, because he saw something in you that has been imprinted in his subconsciousness. So when he's choosing a replica. He's choosing a resemblance of your image or of your attitude. Am I wrong? If I'm wrong, tell me in the comment section that I'm wrong. Right? So he may not consciously realize why he compares, why he feels a void, why nothing quite fills the space that you've occupied. But it's all there, silently just guiding him back to the energy that you left behind. So how do you become a woman who imprints? How do you leave a mark that endures? Here's what it looks like. Live fully in your truth. Be unapologetic about who you are, what you stand for, and the energy that you bring. Love deeply without chasing. You need to express care and passion authentically. But don't beg for reciprocation. If he's not reciprocating, move. Because if you stay in that energy, you will be devalued and your confidence will be trampled upon. So the moment that you see that your love is not reciprocated, move. It is in that moment that you shift that power back, because he sees that you've got boundaries and you know your worth. All right? But yet again, I need you to hold space gracefully. I need you to be present when it matters and then be silent when it doesn't. But then again, be unshakable in your core. Radiate all the calm and fire all together. Balance your softness with strength and, your tenderness with confidence. But make sure that you're moving on without bitterness if your love is not reciprocated. If you're not getting the same energy, your absence, when paired with authenticity, becomes more magnetic than your presence. All right? Because you teach your man who and what you are in your absence, especially when he has not measured up to your energy or has not matched up with your intensity. Your silence, your moving away, shows the depth of your worth. And he will see it in your silence. There's only a stupid man who would not see it. And when you do these things, you realize something profound. You realize that imprinting isn't just about being remembered. It's about reshaping your man. You awaken parts of him that no one else can. You create standards that no one else can reach. You just touch corners of his heart and soul that will echo long after you've gone. So as you move through life, I need you to remember this. You are a force. You are a deep, soulful, transformative force that cannot be replicated. I'll tell you what, the world may see many faces, but very few energies. That's because people are not deep. And the energy you carry, that is forever. That is imprinting. That is power. Even if he never comes back, even if he never acknowledges you, even in unrequited love, your presence, your authenticity, your energy will be felt massively. He might just have someone else who is perfect in appearance, someone who seems more available, more convenient, more gullible, but something will always be missing. That's the depth, that fire, that unique vibration that you brought. It cannot be repeated. It cannot be recreated. It cannot be replicated. And that is why you leave a mark that no one else can touch. Now let's talk about how you can imprint yourself in his soul through intimacy. Because when we talk about imprinting, many women think it's only about being seen, heard, or loved emotionally. But imprinting can also happen through intimacy in ways that go far deeper than the physical. It's not about body alone. It's not about sex. It's about how you move through him, how you awaken him and leave traces in, parts of him that are usually hidden. Imagine, I like to give example. Imagine a woman, sharing closeness with a man, not in haste or not in performance, but with full presence. Every gesture, every kiss, every subtle touch just carries attention. She doesn't just brush his hand or press her lips to his. She moves through him. She touches the spaces that he keeps private, the spaces he never shows anyone else. And that, my love, is what makes the difference. That is imprinting on the soul. Even shyness or restraint becomes powerful when it's combined with authenticity. There is a magnetic energy in a woman who shows that these moments are sacred. She doesn't need to shout her power or her attraction. Her calm, her restraint, her reverence for moments makes the experience unforgettable. The subtlety, the quiet sacredness is what lodges itself in his memory, in his DNA, in the core of his being. And when it comes to sex, it's not about sex itself. It's not about the act. It's about how your energy is woven into the intimacy. See, when a woman allows herself to be fully present, fully herself, and fully alive, especially when she's making love, she awakens part of him, part of her man that no one else can. She taps into his vulnerability, his hidden desires, his needs for emotional resonance. She leaves, impression that no one else can replicate. That's the power of intentional intimacy. When you're making love intentionally, not superficially, you're deep. Now imagine him years later, remembering not just the gesture, but the way that you made him feel, the way your energy moved through him while you were making love to him, the way he felt fully seen when you caressed him, when you touched him, when you kissed him, fully recognized, fully awakened. No one else can recreate that because it wasn't about technique. It was about energy. It wasn't about the sex. It was about energy. It was about the authenticity. It was about the connection. And here is another insight. When a woman combines gentleness with intensity, she becomes unforgettable. And this is what I mean about gentleness. You're gentle with him, but he sees the intensity of your passion. When you combine those two, you're unforgettable. That's why he will say, sex with this woman is amazing because she comes with depth. The sounds that you make, your body movement, how you are in sync with him, soul to soul. Okay? You become unforgettable. The fact that you do not push, you do not plead, you don't even try to force movements. You just simply align your energy with his. You respond to his. You allow, the experience to be mutual, alive and real. And if it's not real, you walk away. That alignment leaves an imprint deeper than anything physical, something he will carry with him forever. Even in moments of silence, even in pauses, the energy lingers. That is the quiet imprinting that most women never realize they are capable of. It's not loud. It's not about selfishness. It's not about flashiness. It's about depth. It's about soulfulness. It's about sacredness. When you come to the bedroom with sacredness, when you talk to him with so much reverence, when you respect the core of who he is, he sees it, he feels it. He sees how authentic you are. You have no ulterior motive. See, when you create that, he doesn't just remember your touch. He doesn't just remember that. He remembers the essence of you, the way you made him feel seen, the way you understood him and you awakened his vulnerability. And here is the most important part. This imprinting that we're talking about doesn't require reciprocation. it doesn't require that he loves you fully in return or even acknowledges the depth of the moment, right? Your energy is just enough. Your presence is just enough. The sacredness and the authenticity that you bring to the table are just as good as powerful on their own. That is how a woman can leave a permanent mark on a man's soul through intimacy without even trying. See, real intimacy isn't about technique. It's not about even the performance you bring to the table or to the bedroom or even the passion. It's about energy. I keep saying this. It's about fully being present, fully being alive, and fully being authentic. So when a woman aligns her energy, she respects the sacredness of the moment. And she allows herself to awaken him in ways that no one else can ever do. And she becomes unforgettable. If you're that kind of woman who can create a memory in his soul, not just in his mind, you stay imprinted. You'll become the standard against which all future experiences are measured if you do not end up with him. So as a woman, I need you to remember, intimacy is a tool of imprinting when used consciously. Every kiss, every moment, every touch, every shared breath can awaken him in ways that last long after that moment is over. You don't need to rush. You don't need to perform. You don't need to demand recognition. Your presence, your calm, your sacred energy, those are enough. That's how you imprint yourself sexually in a way that is soulful, lasting, and transformative. Even years later, even if he meets someone else, someone more beautiful or available, right? Something will always be missing. That depth, that sacred energy, that authenticity that you bring can never, ever be gotten. And that, my love, is the ultimate form of imprinting, the one that lives in his soul long after the physical moment has passed. So how do you imprint yourself in his mind? Intellectual imprint. See, a man may forget what you wore, what you said in passing, or even the small gesture of, affection. But a woman who challenges him, a woman who inspires him and makes him think deeply leaves a mark that he cannot erase. So if you want to imprint on him intellectually, not just soulfully. Because intellectual imprinting is about moving beyond small talks, beyond surface level conversation. And it's connecting with him on a level where his mind and his curiosity are fully engaged. That's why you have to be a smart, intelligent woman. What are you doing to improve your knowledge? Imagine a woman who doesn't just answer his questions, but she sparks them. You share ideas, perspective, and insights that linger in his thoughts long after the conversation ends. You're not dominating or lecturing him. You're engaging. You're challenging gently. You're inviting him to expand without feeling threatened. That's how you leave a mental, imprint that lasts. Even the way that you express yourself intellectually can be so powerful. See, confidence in thoughts, your curiosity while you're having a discussion and, the clarity in your ideas just creates a lasting impression. And that's why you have to read books. You have to keep yourself abreast with what's going on. Because a man remembers the woman who made him think in new ways. The woman who introduced concepts that shifted his perspective. The woman who made learning, growing and exploring feel alive and exciting. That kind of mental imprint doesn't fade. Imagine him thinking about a conversation you had days later. Maybe it was about a book or an idea or a passion of his, or maybe a business or even something abstract that made him feel, that made him reflect. Even if he doesn't reach out, even if he's with someone else, he carries your idea, your insight, and your intellectual energy with him. That's imprinting at its core. You have touched his mind in ways that no one else can replicate. See, when a man admires your mind, when he respects your thoughts, it elevates everything else about you. He can't forget the woman who challenged him. He cannot forget the woman who inspired him and made him feel both stimulated mentally and safe at the same time. That combination is irresistible and unforgettable, invariably. The key to this kind of imprinting is engagement with authenticity. That's why you have to have a building block of knowledge. You don't have to be a genius or know everything, but just know a bit of everything. You just need to be curious. You just need to articulate and be unapologetically yourself. Ask questions that make him think. Share ideas that ignites his imagination. Just encourage him to expand without judgment. And most importantly, you need to listen in a way that shows you value his mind as much as you value your own mind. Because a lot of women just talk and talk and don't listen. See, when a woman imprints intellectually, she becomes the one he remembers in every conversation, in every challenge, in every new idea. Even if he meets other women who are clever or knowledgeable, they won't leave the same mark because her energy, her curiosity, and her authenticity are unique. So, my love, I need you to remember this. If you can imprint in his mind, you will imprint in his soul. You need to spark his thoughts. You need to inspire his growth. You need to challenge his ideas. And you need to do it with grace. That combination of intellectual and authenticity is unforgettable. And it ensures that your presence, even in absence, continues to shape his world long after you walked away. And I will not speak on imprinting without touching on spiritual and soul imprinting, the echo of your essence. There is a kind of connection that doesn't end when the talking stops or when the body steps away. It's what happens when your spirit leaves a quiet echo inside of him. It's that trace of your essence that becomes part of his internal wall. When a woman is fully rooted in who she is calm, she's certain, she's deeply alive, her presence just carries a silence that stays. She doesn't need to chase or convince anyone. She just simply is. And that easiness leaves a mark. Imagine your laughter floating back to him at random moments. Your stillness just becomes a reference point that he unconsciously returns to when the world feels noisy. Even your absence has a texture. It is soft, it is haunting, it is unmistakable. That's what spiritual imprinting is. The way your soul lingers. It's also about what you awaken in him. Maybe you stir curiosity where there was certainty. Maybe you reminded him what peace feels like. Maybe your originality just mirrors a part of him that he has forgotten. That's not just emotional influence, that's soul influence. See, a woman who lives with intention, who leads with kindness and, with some level of quiet strength, creates that atmosphere around her. And when a man has inhaled that kind of atmosphere long enough, you know what happens? He will just carry traces of it wherever he goes. Another woman may walk in, more beautiful, more exciting, more younger, but something will always feel slightly off. It's the rhythm, it's the calm, it's the sense of being seen the way you saw him. It cannot be replicated. It cannot be replaced. You don't have to speak his name or hold his hands for that to exist. The imprint is already there in a way that he pauses before reacting. It's just there in a moment that he finds himself in his quiet, just remembering without wanting to. It's just there in a way that he looks for a feeling he can't quite name. That's the quiet legacy of a woman whose spirit once touched his soul. Do you understand? That's how you imprint on a man. That's why I keep asking, what energy are you bringing to your relationship? Because energy is everything. All right, then, this is where we wrap it all up until I come your way. When I do come your way, do know that I love you and God loves you best. Mwah.